Figured in this video I'd give you a tour of my home automation system. It is still a work in progress, but first started out with this. This is the Ecobee 3 Lite, and I originally got this to control my boiler, but now not only controls my boiler, but it controls my pellet stove as well. And I have that set up with 2-stage heating. On another note, the control board in this air conditioner went bad. But that wasn't too big of a problem, because all I did was install 2 relays in it, one for the fan and one for the compressor, so the Ecobee also controls this. In order to get everything to work properly, because the boiler runs on a different voltage, the pellet stove runs on a different voltage, and the air conditioner runs on a different voltage for the thermostat wiring, is I have 2 of these. This one right here, which does stage 1, which is this LED. That's the pellet stove. Stage 2, which is the boiler. And what this does is it closes the thermostat contacts on both the pellet stove and the boiler, depending on what the Ecobee is calling for. The air conditioner has another one of these inside of it, and that's where one of these wires goes. In order for this to work properly, I had to put the Ecobee on its own 24-volt power supply, but that's not an issue because these relays allow any voltage to work. You can even put 120 or 240 through this and it'll work. One of my newest additions is my energy monitor, which runs off of a 240-volt breaker, and that's this guy right here. What this does is it has 2 clamps that go around the service mains that come into the house, and it measures how much current is being used. It also has some AI capabilities, so it can identify devices, and it can also alert me if there's a brownout, an open neutral, or if a motor or something malfunctions and is sucking up a lot of juice. Eventually, what I'm going to do is move these 2 circuits down and put a generator hook up here with a lockout instead of backfeeding my dryer plug, which is not recommended. It does the job, but it is not safe and it is not recommended for long term. Basically, what a lockout will do is these 2 breakers here would go to my generator. If this main breaker is on, I wouldn't be able to turn these 2 circuits on if they're on the generator. But if the main is off, then these can turn on. And if these are on, then I can't turn the main on. It's a safety feature. And because I have a cutter hammer panel, it's actually pretty easy and relatively inexpensive to get. And I did relabel everything with a label maker. Finally found out what those go to. These actually go to a surge protector that I probably have to replace because that's old, and I just have to get a I forget what they're called, but the wire thingies, they look like this, for the hole that I had to knock out to install this. This also, I bought the second set of probes so I can hook that up and monitor it when I have it on my generator. And you basically just remove this cover, plug it into here, and then this will monitor my generator, or if I wanted to in the future, I could have it monitor solar. If all else fails, I have a regular standard Honeywell round wall thermostat that will override the Ecobee and throw on the boiler if there's a software problem or something goes wrong. This will prevent my house from freezing. For my smart lights, for the switches that I could, my house is pretty old, so it doesn't have a lot of switches. A lot of the lights are, believe it or not, pull chain lights. But for the switches that I was able to, I got these. These are the Lutron Casita smart dimmers, and you can pair them with either a remote or a smart hub. For the pull chain fixtures, I'm using the Philips Hue lights, and I haven't gotten one for the living room or the office yet, but the Philips Hue, you can get these remotes that literally you can mount anywhere, and you don't need to rewire the entire house. And the Hues, you can also change the colors and set up different scenes. Here is the closet where I have all of the networking stuff, and cleaning this up is going to be a spring project because I kind of just added to a mess and added to a mess. I have my camera system. This old Netgear router runs the Internet of Things Wi-Fi network, which is 2.4 gigahertz, which has a tendency to work better with smart home devices. This Raspberry Pi, which will get changed out to either an Intel NUC or something similar. That's the whole brains of the operation. That's running HomeAssistant. Here is the Philips Hue bridge, and here is the bridge for the Lutrons. Now, to get the two systems working together, I originally had them on Apple HomeKit, but Apple HomeKit, although it works really well, has some limitations with automations, and if you lose internet connectivity, you kind of lose the ability to control most of your devices. Whereas having HomeAssistant, I can control everything locally. There's no cloud. I do have HomeKit connected, but all it is there is for Siri control and voice control. Everything runs through the HomeAssistant bridge right there. That's the router for my main Wi-Fi for non-Internet of Things devices. And I have an Apple HomePod. And eventually I'm going to put one in each room. But basically this is what allows me to do the voice control of everything. Again, HomeKit doesn't really control anything. It's just for the voice commands. So I can say, hey Siri, turn on the kitchen and the dining room. So my kitchen lights, my dining room lights are on. It started playing music from whatever was left. Hey Siri, turn off the kitchen and the dining room. And boom, everything's off. I can even tell it to turn off the television and my home theater, which also will power down like the PlayStation and the Xbox. In my living room, I have this old Android tablet, which works perfectly for a custom dashboard. Right now, I have my energy usage dashboard up, and what's nice about HomeAssistant is you can customize different dashboards. So this is everything in the house. So you can basically control the entire house from right here, or any device that has this app on. And I can also see my energy usage, what lights are on, what color they're on, who turned them on. If I want to graph my energy usage, I have that. I can see how much came from low carbon device or low carbon sources. Kind of cool. And if I had solar, I can see how much my solar system generated, how much my house used, how much was put into the grid. When I have my generator hook up, it'll tell me what my load is on my generator. And you can literally go in and customize everything on here. You even have a logbook, so you can see what was turned on. It has Bluetooth detection, so you can program. So if you say you have somebody come here and they don't want to put the app on your phone, you can just look at what their Bluetooth identifier is and then say have the lights come on at a certain time if they're home, or if they leave, turn all the lights off, stuff like that. I like to keep this on the energy dashboard just because, you know, I'm a nerd and I like to know my voltage. Down here you got your sunset and sunrise times, how much I've spent money-wise on electricity for that day. And all this is customizable. I can go in, edit this dashboard, and have it display different data. And it's just, it's a really awesome system. I'm pretty new at it. I've had it for about a week, but really liking it so far. Oh, and the best part, it doesn't cost any money. It's all open source. Eventually, I'm going to be adding to this system. I want to get a Z-Wave dongle, so I'll be able to integrate fire and smoke alarms and say if a CO alarm or smoke alarm goes off in the middle of the night, it can turn all the lights on or do other things. So that's pretty much it so far. Yeah, let me know what you think.